Welcome to Uncaged, a show that celebrates thought leadership from today's top business leaders. The program provides a voice to amazing executives from around the globe who are shaping the world of business today and mapping the path to the commerce of tomorrow. Today, we're speaking with Nicolas Levitte. Hey, Nicolas, how are you?
Hi, Ben. Really well. Thank you. Thank you for having me today.
Yeah, it's great to speak with you, Nicolas. I'm excited to learn more about what you're working on. Nicolas is the CEO and founder of Expand in Asia. Expand in Asia provides B2B outbound prospecting services and pipeline growth services, targeting mid-sized tech companies that are focusing to grow their market share. And so we'll talk about what Nicolas and the Expand in Asia team are working on in Asia. If you go back before the pandemic, everything was really focused on an Asia Pacific discussion. And so I'm excited to hear about where things have evolved over the last couple of years. But before we get there, Nicolas, tell us a little bit about yourself and your career.
Yeah, thanks, Ben. Three main characteristics about myself, my career. The first one is always being in the world of sales, in the sales capacity, either as a business developer, salesperson myself, or sales leadership, sales management. So always being in that environment. It's something that I'm really passionate about. I find it very positive. We're solving customers' problems, besides negotiation of pricing, it's usually hand-in-hand work. So I really love that portion and spend all my life in there. The other one is the international aspect of things. Always lived and worked in other countries. Was born in France, but lived 16 years in Canada. I spent a lot more time outside of my home country, and I've been here 12 years in Singapore. So when I was in Canada, I was selling in the US. When I worked for a US company, it was South America, and I've been here in Asia for the last 12 years, trying to develop business and for different companies across APAC. And the last piece is always been in digital. Or tech industry, depending on internet companies, so depending on what's the buzzword of the moment, but usually tech, tech businesses. From the day I left university, was the bubble burst in the .com, and I knew that even if that bubble was bursting, and I knew it was a place to be. So
yeah, I mean, certainly digital technology in general has transformed our world in our lifetime. And certainly it's played a big role in reshaping how trade is done. And I'm excited to hear more about how that actually has impacted how you do things in Asia. But you live in one of the most dynamic markets in the world. You live in Singapore. And tell us a little bit about what's going on with Expand in Asia. Tell us a little bit about what you guys are working on and what's the latest.
Yeah. So what we do Expand in Asia, we're basically a team of prospecting professionals, if you will. And we help tech businesses find clients, to make it simple. We focus on the first part of the sales process, which is really the prospection part, doing the research, finding the companies our clients should be dealing with, the people that they need to engage with, and doing different kind of campaigns that are 100% outbound. We don't do inbound. So either using emails or cold calling or using LinkedIn, other social media as well, depending on the context of the customer, is really helping them find new clients. And we provide what we call SDR, so as sales development representative as a service. They outsource to us that part of the process. We take it in-house. We work under their name. So it's like they have their own team, except that it's my team delivering the work.
That's great. And that team, are they based in Singapore or are they based in Philippines, India?
Those three countries.
Yeah.
Singapore, Philippines. I have people in India. Also have a little team in Ukraine. It was challenging with the war over there, but managed to keep business as usual. So yeah, I have a spread team.
And tell me a little bit about where we are in the broader market right now. I mean, I remember, if we were thinking back into 2019 when you were launching Expand in Asia, that my company spent a ton of time thinking about our Asia Pacific strategy. How are we going to go in Asia? And then during the pandemic, things kind of quieted down a bit. to be perfectly honest. And now it seems to be ramping up again. So I'd just be curious to hear, what are the latest characteristics of the Asia market, and what are you seeing that tech companies are asking you for?
So, and it's interesting you mentioned COVID, because actually, as weird as it sounds, it actually was an accelerator for us.
Oh, good.
Yeah, at that time, there was, think about the sales team within those organizations, whatever they are. Salespeople couldn't travel, all of them that wanted to do some international business, they couldn't travel, they couldn't go to event. So that made some budgets available, if you will. And, I was basically just offering some CEOs to make their salespeople busy. And since everything that we do is online and remote, it made perfect sense. So it sounds weird, but COVID did help for me, at least in the context of my business, to launch it and grow it. And business in Asia was still a priority for a lot of businesses, and I personally didn't see it change before and after. For the interest of getting in here in Asia, and Singapore is just keep growing. The digital space is just much bigger, much more interesting than it was a few years ago. So
when you think about Asia, I mean, Asia is such a blend of cultures. And how do you find that you have to approach each one of these markets in a different way?
It's so true what you're mentioning, and I hear it a lot. We want to go into Asia. It's like, where in Asia? What do you mean Asia? How do you define Asia? You're right. There's so many different countries and cultures and languages, and that portion is really key to understand in order to put the right process in place, the right strategy and the right process to execute on the strategy. And in terms of sales, building the right sales strategy, but even in prospecting, which country you start with, which one you get more traction, whereas depending on the language that you're going to use, is it where are the ones to start with? So that requires an understanding of each of these markets, and understanding the cultural, the habits, how to dress, how to communicate. And that's the portion that is fun. That's the portion that is really exciting and in that line of work, because that's, I mentioned the international part of my career is the portion that I enjoy doing the most. So yes, you need to understand all of these cultures. They're fundamentally different from one another.
Yeah, and finding really kind of that market fit, exactly how the product and the technology will be utilized. It's always an interesting one to find that kind of balance, and then the messaging to get it correct. But I mean, certainly I noticed that, Nicolas, you started Expand in Asia in the beginning of 2019, and it feels like a lifetime ago, 2019. No, it seems like a long time ago now. But that was really just 4 years ago. And tell me a little bit about that period of time where we've gone from when you started the business to where we are today.
Well, I guess every entrepreneur will have more or less the same, answer to that. Discussing the challenges of starting something, where you're a no-name company, if you will. But I mean, I was very lucky. I just started the business. I started working with my previous employers. So people I know, people I worked with, and I offered my service, and they accepted it. So I was very lucky for that it was not that complicated or that difficult to get those first customers, to get you on board, help you build a team, help you build some knowledge and processes that then you can resell to other customers. So I was lucky that this portion was a little bit easier. The difficult portion was to hire the right people. So you do some trials and errors, I would say. But yeah, until today, where I think we have a good team in place, and very happy about what the team delivers. But that was the HR portion was something that was more challenging.
How did that work? I mean, were you hiring people virtually online, basically, because you couldn't travel during COVID?
Yeah, I mean, it was 100% through VC, and well, that portion is not. Yeah, well, that's true. It's different than we used to be before. You meet people face to face, and you have a better feeling of the person, etc. But that was not too much an issue, I would say. Some reason in Singapore, during COVID, what happened is really that it was harder to find talent in a business development side. I'm not too sure why. I can't explain it rationally. But before COVID, yeah, I could meet a lot of different people, and then I was posting jobs. It was not the same outcome. So
Yeah. That's interesting. There was this kind of shortage. I'm curious to see really how things are going to evolve. And I mean, it leads in perfectly to my next question, which is we find ourselves now at a different stage of growth, and the economy is now handling some of the perhaps pressures that you have when you have you deal with a pandemic and then you have inflation afterward. But tell us a little bit about what you're seeing on the horizon for 2023 and what you're excited about.
what I'm excited about, what I'm working on right now is actually to develop some other products to either sell more services to existing clients or just touch and get some other clients. So I give you an example. Typically for sales development representative, what we do is, we help a customer to find a potential customers of theirs. So, so a company, a type of company, and, there's a persona, some specific people, and then we need to find some sort of a communication to engage with them. So we do some outbound communication in order to set a meeting, and then, fingers crossed, have that customer, sign some deals in the process. So if you think of that process, there's actually other things that we can do using the same process. So I'll give you an example. Recently, it's been a while now, but we've been helping a couple of companies, a couple of CEOs reaching out to VCs. We use the same technique, right? We identify a persona, a type of company, type of VC, what are the right VCs for them to engage, and we apply the same technique. We can do that also for recruitment. If you think about it, a person that you want to hire is a persona, and ideally would come from specific companies. And then we could put in place a campaign and reach out to these people and suggest them to consider that company. Especially in a context where there's shortage of talent, you need to increase the outbound process. Posting a job is not enough. So basically, more and more what we're trying to do is to connect businesses with opportunities, and those opportunities don't need to be only sales opportunities. There are other opportunities, financing or funding opportunity, or recruitment opportunity.
So expanding really this idea of this outbound messaging and performance messaging strategy, and applying that now into different verticals, not really business verticals, but different needs that businesses have.
Yeah,
I think it's great. Yeah.
Different prospect, different clients, right? The client could be VC. A client could be a talent, could be a candidate. So different kind of clients. Yeah.
No, I think it's great. Well, I mean, Nicolas, I think that anyone who is thinking about expanding in Asia should speak to Expand in Asia. Where's the best place to find you and get in touch with you?
Well, through our website and, through the form that is there in the email, but, my email is can be used anytime. So I don't know if you want to share it here online, but and Levitte at expandin.asia.
Great. And I think obviously they can find you on LinkedIn. Nicolas, it's been amazing to talk to you about everything that you're working on with the team in Expand in Asia. Congratulations on all the growth over the last couple of years. We've been speaking with Nicolas Levitte. He's been telling us about really the process of growing Expand in Asia from 2019 to where we are today. Expand in Asia provides B2B outbound prospecting services and pipeline growth services targeting mid-sized tech companies that are focusing to grow their market share. We're also seeing them move into other areas, helping on finding candidates and also finding the right VCs in early stage, mid stage funding, which is an absolutely critical process. And I can absolutely understand where the solutions that Expand in Asia offer play a key role. Nicolas, thank you so much for being on Uncaged today, and we look forward to having you back.
Thank you so much, Ben.
Cheers.
Have a great day.